All right, we're going to be learning about percent of change in this video. I have the formula listed here. Now, there are many different ways that this formula is written, all basically doing the same thing. So in the one I'm showing here for my pre-algebra class, what we're going to do is we're going to do percent of change is equal to the amount of change over the original amount times 100. Okay, when doing this fraction or doing this division, it's going to give it to us as a decimal, and we have to change it to a percent by multiplying by 100. So we're going to look at two problems. Let's take a look right here. The first one we're going to do is going from 8 to 11. Okay, I already had found the change earlier, and what that is 3, right? It changes from 3 by going from 8 to 11. We could do subtraction to find that. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the formula to say, okay, the amount of change, which in this case is 3, that's the change, over the original amount, which was 8. And after we do that, we're going to multiply by 100 to get our answer. Okay, so 3 divided by 8, I am allowing you to use calculator, so we're going to do 3 divided by 8, and we get 0.375. I carry down my times 100, and now I'm going to go ahead and do the times 100. Doing the times 100, we're simply going to scoop over 2 times, because each time we move it over to the right, we're multiplying by 10. So this would end up getting to be 37.5%. And now there's one more thing needed in these problems. We need a direction. So in this case, this was an increase when we go from 8 to 11. Let me turn my brightness down. That should be a little bit better. Okay, so because this is an increase going from 8 to 11, this is going to be a 37.5% increase. And that is our final answer. Okay, 37.5% increase when going from 8 up to 11. All right, we're going to take a look at one more. This one is more of a word problem. Okay, so it says your first week you made $50 in tips. Your second week you only made $35 in tips. What was your percent of change in tips from week 1 to week 2? So this problem, again, I'm going to look already at the beginning to see that going from $50 down to $35, this is a decrease. So I might even write the word decrease down here on the bottom to remind myself of that. So we have to find the change. It's probably good to write down the original and new as well, seeing as how it is a word problem. So we start out with 50. We went down to 35. And the change between those, if we do the subtraction, is 15. So according to our formula, we're going to do the amount of change, which is 15, over the original, which is 50, and we'll multiply it by 100. So we can also, I'm doing this in a calculator right here. Sometimes they'll be friendly, so you can actually cross-cancel these and multiply these just like you would normal fractions. To be consistent, I'm going to go ahead and do the 15 divided by 50. We get 0.3 or 3/10. Okay, so to multiply by 100, we're going to scoop over 1 time and then 2 times, filling this with a 0. So this becomes a 30 with a decimal point there. And that is a 30%. I'm going to write it down here, 30% decrease. Okay, if you did not write your decrease down beforehand, at this point you could say, oh, well, let me check. We went from 50 down to 35, so that is a decrease. Okay, and just like that, we're done. We had a 30% decrease in tips. That is how percent of change works. Just make sure you do include that direction, and you're good to go.